Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and welcome back to part 3 of Sunshine Tidings Co-op. In the first couple parts, we covered the basics of the Robosexual colony in greater detail. In short, Robosexuals are people that have an attraction to robots. There are 2 subgroups that are gender-neutral terms. There are Amies, which can be man or woman. There are people that are attracted to robots, and then there are Benders. They are people that actually wish that they were robots. And if you want more detail on that, go watch the first and second parts. We're going to keep moving on with our tour here. Now, I've said that every building here has the lights on their own circuit that I can turn on and off at will, despite whatever other circuits may be in the area. But in this particular one, by design, I want to have this spotlight on all the time, shining into that jail cell. It's not really people that go too crazy in this settlement, but every once in a while someone will get a little too drunk at the bar or whatever, and just need to be held for a little while till they get calmed down. And inside our police station, we've got a security desk and a terminal and all the tools that you're going to need to be a good police officer, including a 44, some handcuffs, a baton, and the all-important sunglasses. There's also stim packs and robot repair kits available here, because sometimes these guys, just like real-world cops, can end up being first responders or first aid kind of people. Another guard station up here that watches out over this direction. Never actually seen an attack come from that way, but it just feels like we gotta have guards looking every direction. And like I said in the last video, every station has a laser turret, a missile turret, and a spotlight that are all the turrets are accessible without having to get into build mode or do anything too crazy. And each one of the guard stations is just built a little different to try and give some variation here. Got I think the 4th of the 6 shacks here, and like I said in the other parts, it's hard to do much with these other than furnish them and decorate them, but I tried to go and do everything unique in each one. This one in particular has a Canopy Bed. I can't remember if I saw this first on like Mad Queen Show or maybe the Joker's Girl channel, but I don't think that they had their supports going up to the ceiling to make this hanging. And I like to put in some extra storage up top here to just, be some trunks or whatever that a guy could shove up top and get down when necessary. Used another couch as a headboard, and like I talked about in other episodes, almost everybody in this settlement plays Blast Radius. And going on to the next one over here, we've got just a little shack where an Amy lives all alone, and unfortunately pines for that sweet, sweet mechanical embrace. And let's go the back way and go past the stop and drop suicide booth. I covered this one in an episode kind of all by itself and showed off how that works as kind of a Rube Goldberg device. Another one of those guard stations that follows my rules of having a place to sit and having some shade, having those 2 turret types and a spotlight, and a siren. But each of them is built in a different way. This one just kind of watches a path that actually goes nowhere. It just goes to the edge of the map. So got Walton here, he's an Amy. You can tell because he's not dressed in any kind of like robot costume. And I want to show off the hospital, which is kind of an interesting thing to build, because you can see here that at the back it's more or less at ground level, but the entrance is a couple of floors down. It ended up being kind of a stilt house sort of thing, and it's multiple levels, but they're not all uniform like some of the other buildings here. This one is a little bit more fun to look at, I think, than some of the other buildings here. It's run by Dr. Perceptron, she's a vendor. And when we come inside, we've got a Decontamination Arch next to this chemistry station, because if you're going to go and be making life-saving medicine, maybe you don't want to have it contaminated with radioactive material. There is a waiting area over here along with some kind of burnt up magazines to read. There's a little, take a number kind of style station here that is, when they're ready, they will call your number and let you know that you're up next. This is actually just a liquor cabinet that is spun around backwards. People don't use the back sides of these much, but they make a good place to put a sign or make a barricade or whatever. So you can come over here and have your initial consultation with the doctor. We're not going to ask where the x-rays come from because we don't have an x-ray machine. And if they decide that you need to be admitted, you come upstairs into the actual hospital itself, and hey, there's the doctor. And I like the way the outfit came out on this doctor. I think it looks unusual and different and cool. It's asymmetric, and it completely hides her face, like she actually is trying to hide and be a robot. Each of the beds has a curtain for when someone might want some more privacy. Shelves in here are a combination of do-it-yourself and manual stuff. So, for example, we've got some homebrew medicine from way off in Far Harbor over here. It's a well-equipped hospital, at least well-equipped for the Wasteland. Kind of went through and stocked everything up. Let's go ahead and go back down outside here and take a look at the next building, which I'm actually going to kind of stare at my feet here a little bit, because it's something that I want to show off only when it's lighted. I think it looks way better. Before we do that, let's take a look at this little shack here, which next door has a doghouse for Mr. Barker. There are probably 3 or 4 doghouses kind of floating around the settlement. This is another shack where an Amy lives and pines away for the cold steel embrace for robotic gaming. This 5th and next to last cabin here has a great big statue of Liberty Prime that they're building out front. It's not ever going to be anything functional. It's just a static statue. But I was able to kind of cram some lights into it, and I think the overall effect is kind of neat. But the settlers that live here I think I said in the last part that they see kind of robot statues and robot parts out in the open as just kind of having this in your front yard for these people would be like having a giant statue of a dong in front of your house. Maybe not technically illegal, but certainly very tacky. Inside the building, oh, and I put scaffolding around it because that statue is still under construction. They're slowly kind of finishing putting the final touches on it. Inside here, there's nothing particularly special about this shack. Just used another fireplace here out of the mod and another couch as headboard kind of thing. Lighting's a little bit dim. This couple is fortunate enough to have kind of a mint condition copy of Blast Radius. Let's go back out, and which do we want to do next? Got another guard station here, and again, same basic components, just put together in a different way. This one, to get the elevation on the guard tower right, I had to put a foundation in, put some stairs in, and you can see again, it's nice being able to put those spotlights on the power pylons. Let's go around the back. Over here, we've got the last outhouse for the settlement. Excuse me, this one actually has a door to it. And got a couple dogs that are just hanging out here at this dog house here. And like I mentioned in the last video, every residence has a place to cook, whether it's this cooking station or the cooking stove or barbecue grill or whatever, because they don't necessarily eat out all the time. This last cabin is a couple of Amy's that live here. They're not romantically linked or anything, and they're just roommates, and I've kind of separated their sleeping areas using those cabinets. Just a sign that they've decided to put over their doors to remind themselves that despite being persecuted as a couple of filthy robosexuals, it does get better. Go out over here. Let's just do the last two guard stations before we get anywhere else. There's a side gate here that I put up because raiders tend to spawn down that path, and I wanted to be able to get out. Door, second to last guard station, which again just kind of put together a little different than the others. And a second bathtub, because I felt like one was maybe not enough for a settlement this big. And also putting in like institute showers or pre-war showers didn't really fit in with the aesthetic here. So another little lean-to and guard station, and that's enough of those. Hopefully one of those kind of tickled your fancy and you might be interested in maybe making one for yourself. So we're just about done here, and I can't believe it. Thing hadn't crashed yet. This is the vendor bar for the settlement, and it is Sparky's Den. It's another suit of power armor here. I think I mentioned the last time, for whatever reason, I cannot get the settlers to wear power armor, even though there's a fusion core and the settlement's been attacked. They just will go into it. Hedonism bot is hanging out in here. Got the bar itself, which is a little separated from the rest of the room. It has its own back entrance over here for the person running the bar. This bar tends to have a little bit rougher crowd to it, and so a little physical separation made sense. And I just realized that I probably whipped through there way too fast to actually see anything. Go back and check out the second and third floors of this bar. This was, there's not much seating here because the people that are here are all busy pretending that they're robots. And robots don't tend to sit down. The only exception is this picnic table up on the top floor. This is another one of the high spots that's accessible in the settlement that you can kind of see across and get a sense of scale. Let's go back downstairs. I built this building out of concrete, and I wanted to do something kind of weird with it, of having like an airy structure that was made out of concrete, and hopefully I kind of pulled that off. The other bar in the settlement is over here. Go ahead and turn the lights on inside. This is the hip joint. This is a bar that mostly caters to Amies, and so there is a large patio outside where robots that maybe can't fit through the door can hang out, and their Amies can hang out with them. It's got some various signs and stuff out here. Certainly there is a show your Robosexual pride sign inside. There's this jukebox here that one of their favorite bands around here is Love and Robots, so it's loaded up with Love and Robots song. That pool table, there's a mod that I use that has these pool balls already all put together in a rack. I've gone and I actually went to the trouble of getting a complete set of pool balls to throw on this table, not necessarily rack them. And they still managed to fall through and disappear and roll away, so I said, screw it, I'm just using a mod. It's got a nice little rainbow lighting in here that I put in that kind of second ceiling in. It was a challenge, had to use some stairs and a pillar glitch and a bunch of other stuff to get that up nice and close to the ceiling. Got some seating over here as well as the actual food vendor, and the bar itself looks like somebody got called away in the middle of dinner. The shelves are nicely stocked. This took up a whole lot of size on the size bar, using this much do-it-yourself junk in here. We've got, I think we're down to one last building to go here, and that is the gun shop. Let's go ahead and turn on the lights for rays, guns, and ammo. Another one of those stove glitches that I talked about to kind of add some detail on the outside. He mostly sells ray guns, concentrates on energy weapons because people around here are technophiles after all. If you're a visitor and you want to get your gun delivered to the gatehouse, they'll be glad to do that for you. I think I mentioned back in part 1 that visitors are not allowed to have guns, and so they will hold your guns in this closet, and they'll also hold any purchases that you make. Is a little kitty cat. Inside here, just got some some trophies from some good kills that he's made. It's this little weapons shop. Went through and kind of added some modifications to a bunch of different energy weapons. And if you didn't know, the weapon racks, the pegboards can kind of clip together so you can pack them a little bit closer. Like you see here, this has a lot of extra space on that board. It just doesn't quite look right, whereas this looks, in my mind, just about like a pegboard should, where things are packed together. So they've got an experimental MIRV, Gatling laser here, as well as a weapons workbench where the owner can tinker with people's purchases. A couple last guns on display and a couple more trophies here. The owner lives in this mezzanine up here with a close friend, not romantically linked, just what they call it in Jay and Silent Bob, hetero life mates. So one very last kitchen and one last set of shelves to look at, and there we go. That is the entirety of the settlement, and it took ages to build this thing. But I'm very pleased with how it turns out, because it really does start to feel like a wasteland town. We've got this many people and this many different buildings. So I certainly hope that you liked it. And if you did, please click the like button down below. And if you want to see more, there is more coming. I'm going to do a mini episode basically just showing off all the characters and outfits and the different robot designs and maybe their Futurama inspirations for the namesakes of the robots. So if you don't want to miss that, be sure to hit subscribe. And if you didn't like, really would take it as a personal favor if you'd tell me why down in the comments, so I can try and do better next time. My name is Nacho Bidness, and it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.